What's the most hurtful thing you've overheard about yourself by accident? Went out to a bar with some friends for a birthday party for my ex-girlfriend. She really messed me up when she left me, like really bad, but I was trying to be nice since she invited me, so I figured I'd go out and be there for a drink or two. So, a mutual friend who had been broken up with a few days before and was there, so as I made the rounds I talked to her, and tried to do whatever I could to let her know it would be okay. I'm no therapist, but I did my best, you know? I knew what a bad breakup felt like, as I was also going through one, so I tried to help. Anyways, after I left the table I overheard her talking to my ex at the bar about me trying to give her advice, and she said, well, nobody has ever loved him, so what does he know about any of this? And they started laughing. Don't think they know I heard, but I grabbed my coat immediately and took a long walk home. I don't need people like that in my life. Haven't willingly seen either of them since. At a family reunion my mother stated she was so happy when I moved out. It was my house and I was letting her live there for free after her divorce. I phoned my friend and asked him if he wanted to hang out. I was maybe 10. He said he had to ask his mom. I heard him say, Lazarus 870 wants to do something. But I don't want to see him. I guess he either thought he muted the phone or did a shitty job at muffling it or something. Then he came back to the phone. Sorry, my mom said I can't. He was a terrible friend over the years. I'm probably blocking out the worst cases. I've learned it's pretty much human nature to talk trash about anyone who isn't present, so no reason to take it personally, but when you're a kid, it's a miserable experience. The worst case recently, I have a weird neurological problem in my shoulder and arm that no one has ever been able to diagnose. During an intense flare-up I was referred to a physical therapist by a friend. The therapist saw me once and recommended surgery. I was very reluctant to take this advice, but I didn't say no. I called the surgeon she recommended. Turned out he wasn't accepting new cases. The second appointment there was a scheduling error, and I arrived 30 minutes too early. I sat in the front of the office and listened to the therapist making small talk with another patient about how her next patient was a psycho trying to fabricate some kind of malpractice case, and refusing to comply with her advice. The receptionist was sitting right in front of me, also listening, but she didn't run back to stop it, so it went on for quite a while. If I had been a psycho trying to manufacture a legal case against her, she was kind enough to do all of the work for me. Conversation where about 10 messages earlier one of my employees had described me as an idiot and suggested to the recipients that they didn't get me involved in the situation they were discussing. I'd always thought we got on well, and it knocked my confidence. Edit. Thanks for all the replies and messages, some of you are really nice. I've got much thicker skin now, but this happened many years ago when I was quite new to management. I eventually talked with the lady who sent the email, and she was extremely embarrassed and apologetic. Then when we talked more, it came out that one of her colleagues was spreading shit about me, and she hadn't questioned what was being said. It took months to get rid of the real problem causer. This wasn't in the USA. It's difficult to fire people where I am, and the real confidence crusher was knowing that he was poisoning the well that whole time. Things were much better once he was gone. Not overheard, but actually read in a file about me. My mother passed away suddenly, and I received a file from my father that she was meaning to give to me. It was a psychological profile, along with it tests, personality tests and other stuff. This wasn't a surprise to me since I'm autistic and have been in therapy as a child. There was a part however about my family and their trouble with living with me. Especially my brothers and my dad were having problems coping and learning how my existing pained them was difficult. My parents got divorced basically because of me. My brothers were embarrassed by me. I'm doing better than expected. I was never supposed to be living on my own. There was talk about assisted living or even an institution, but somehow I managed to leave home as soon as I got 18. I got married, had kids, and even though I struggle a lot, I get by. I even have a good relationship with all my brothers, even though they still have trouble treating me as an adult. It's like always thinking everybody knows you're retarded except you. And then finding out it's true. My stepmom saying I was useless, heartless, abusive, leeching, etc. When I couldn't get my dad a birthday gift and instead painted something for him, I was like 16 at the time and had no money, couldn't get my mom to buy something for her ex-husband, and stepmom never wanted to get to know me, to my grandma, actually pretty sad, as art was still a big deal to me at that age, and has changed how I've seen her as a person. He'd be alive right now. Spent the entire night running around trying to stabilize a patient, and my bitch of a coworker sat there talking shit with my other bitch of a coworker, loudly talking about how incompetent I was the entire time. Neither of them lifted a finger to help. When the patient crashed, both of them magically disappeared, and it was nurses from the other side of the hallway who came to help with the code. They came after all was said and done, and then I overheard one of them say that. Then they proceeded to tell the unit manager I was incompetent and crying at the bedside. Thankfully neither of them work on the unit anymore. I was 7 and basically poor trailer trash, but I asked my friend if I could stay the night. He called his mom to ask, and I overheard her say, "Tell him no, I don't want roaches and lice." Really cut me deep. To this day I have extreme anxiety about keeping my house clean. I couldn't help it, I was poor, and our roaches didn't pay rent you bish. When I was in 7th grade, I lived in a shitty podunk town in East Texas. I was weird and an ugly duckling. In order to fit in, I decided to become a cheerleader, since all of them were popular and well liked at my school. I made the team, and considered all of them friends, even though they were mean to literally everyone who they didn't consider cool. One day, during a practice, the bases of my stunt, the people who hold you up, dropped me and I fell flat on my ass, which bruised my tailbone really badly. At our first game, we were on the sidelines, and during a break I overheard our team captain laughing about how funny it was when her and the other base dropped me on purpose, and that they had hoped I would be hurt enough to not be able to participate at the game. As a 13-year-old, it destroyed me, but in order to still seem like I was liked at school, I didn't tell anyone about it. When I was a preteen, I posted a picture of myself online with a minor celebrity. I later found that it was reposted on a message board, and the majority of the comments talked about how ugly and pale I was. The only person who said anything nice said, "Don't say that, she posts here sometimes and she's really nice." My wife had a falling out with some friends of mine that she met through me. We had known them a long time, but I had known them for much longer. I was upset with her one night, because they were always asking why she never came around anymore, but she absolutely refused to see them. I always thought it was because of this little side business project they went into together that didn't work out. So I'm driving my wife somewhere, and I just start getting upset with her, that she won't make up with them and move past it like they did, and it sucks that she never comes with when I go over there. So she finally broke and told me the truth. Every time she went over there without me, they would talk shit about me, putting down my personality, my humor, and much more. I guess they thought she would be okay with it, like a joking, haha my husband can be such a, insert something, right? But she wasn't okay with it. She's not a confrontational person, so she never really spoke up, but she was disgusted by the way they spoke about me behind my back, and refused to have anything to do with them. She had been letting me think it was all her fault, and she took it because she knew the truth would hurt my feelings. And it did. I saw two girls that I roomed with for a short while in college had been publicly posting on Facebook about how weird, annoying, and disrespectful I was. Their reasoning was that I was taking an 8:30 AM class, and only weirdos do that, and that I made a shit ton of noise every morning and disrupted their sleep. It hurt because I tried really hard to not be disruptive. I wouldn't let my alarm go off, because I woke up naturally around the time it was scheduled, and would just turn it off before it beeped. This was partially out of anxiety. I changed clothes in the bathroom, tiptoed everywhere, and wouldn't even eat or zip my backpack in the room because I wanted to be quiet. As far as I knew, neither of them woke up any of those mornings, and they never said anything to me about it. Just 5 minutes ago, my coworker told me my other coworker told her she'd quit immediately if I got hired onto the position they are currently at. Up until this point, I thought this girl and I were best friends. I even shared my Netflix password with her. That bitch. I think this was 9th grade. A girl I had a crush on, but hadn't really talked to at all, was moving away. A few days before she moved I overheard her saying, "Yeah, I'll miss pretty much everyone. But I'll tell you one person I won't miss, Sanskrit." That kinda sucked. Background: I'm 12 years younger than my older sisters, and I was unplanned. At age 7, I overheard my mom crying and saying I was the reason she didn't love my dad anymore / we were poor / why she isn't happy, and that she didn't want to be a mom anymore. She said she didn't know how to love someone who ruined her entire life. It was Christmas Eve, and she was drunk talking to her best friend on the phone. It broke my heart / spirit, and that was only the beginning of my awful childhood. Side note, I'm 29 now and moved out when I was 15 to protect myself. I have no contact with my parents, and I'm fully aware it wasn't my fault I was born. But damn, this memory still ducks me up. I had just moved into my dorm for my second year of college. My roommate was my best friend since 9th grade. My stuff hadn't arrived yet, and it was my time to register, so I asked him if I could use his computer. He said sure. I sat down, and he had AOL Instant Messenger open to a conversation with another friend of ours. I didn't scroll up, but from what was just visible on screen, they were talking about how weird I was and how awful it would be rooming with me. I closed it so he wouldn't realize later I'd seen it, registered, and left. We still lived together that year, but we didn't hang out at all. We just cohabited. I never asked him to hang out as friends. He never asked me. Move out day that year was the last time we spoke. That was over 10 years ago. We chatted every day for 6 years, then haven't spoken since. I still don't know if I did or said something to flip how he felt about me, or if he never really liked me to begin with. The possibility of the later really ducks up your future friendships. Hell, the former does too, knowing apparently you're capable of unknowingly saying or doing something to throw away a 5-year friendship. Overheard someone saying they didn't want to work with me. I don't know why, considering I barely knew them. It definitely hurt though. I've had this happen at my work as well. Plus people saying I'm a duck up. I've only ducked up things that everyone else has admitted to also ducking up before. I'm under the impression all my co-workers are just donks because I try to keep to myself, do my work and go home. They always talk shit about the cars I buy and bring to work too. I don't understand why. It's none of their business what I do in my free time. I buy and sell cars. I have new to me cars every other week. They tell me I'm an idiot for buying them, but I'm just doing the maintenance and cleaning them up to sell them for a profit. And maybe make someone happy and sell them their dream car. Heard 2 of my only friends at the time planning to go out later making sure to ditch the redhead. Me. They had been my only friends since I could remember. After I let my mom know I was dating a girl she knew and really approved of, I heard my mom talking on the phone immediately to a friend of hers that she was disappointed in the girl's choice and hoped she would try dating other people. Heard a group of people I was out with talking about me in a pretty bad way, and my best friend at the time joining in. All that was over a decade ago now. In college I really focused on getting better socially, and I went to a faraway college where I could get a fresh start where I didn't know a single person. Made a great career for myself, and moved to a town in a different state with a beautiful girl who I didn't tell my family about till we were engaged, and now I run a very successful business and am pretty well liked from what I can tell. Coming home for Christmas though is like I'm back in high school again. The way I'm treated here by even my own family is super toxic. It's no wonder I was so socially awkward as a kid.